This is a video to show you how to use the Jasco FTIR spectrometer. Each organic lab is equipped with a Jasco FTIR spectrometer, and you will use this instrument to help characterize organic compounds that are isolated or synthesized in lab. The Jasco FTIR is an infrared spectrometer. Like spectrometers you may have used in earlier chem classes, the Jasco measures radiation after it passes through a sample. However, IR spectrometers don't use sample tubes to hold the compound or solution. Instead, our instrument uses an ATR cell to hold the sample. ATR stands for Attenuated Total Reflectance, and this device uses mirrors to reflect IR radiation through a small diamond crystal into your sample and back into the spectrometer. The sample for analysis is placed on the diamond at the center of the ATR plate. The ATR cell has a pressure clamp which screws down to press the sample against the diamond crystal. The Jasco FTIR is controlled with a computer. You will need to be familiar with the Jasco operating systems to obtain a spectrum. In lab, the FTIR and computer should be up and running with the spectrum measurement screen visible. If you don't see this screen, it just may be minimized on the desktop. If you don't see the spectrum measurement screen anywhere on the desktop environment, ask your lab instructor. Spectra are obtained using commands from the spectrum measurement window. In most cases, at the beginning of the day, the instructor runs a background spectrum to subtract the effects of the lab environment. You should not run a background spectrum before your sample unless you are instructed to do so. If your instructor asks you to run a background spectrum, you first need to make sure that ATR cell is clean. Fold a chem wipe and moisten it with some ethanol from the squirt bottle near the instrument. Clean the bottom tip of the pressure clamp and the surface of the ATR cell. Then allow a few seconds for any alcohol to evaporate. When your cell is clean, run a background spectrum by clicking the letter B at the upper left of the spectrum measurement screen. The tip of the pressure clamp should not be touching the ATR cell. The Jasco scans the background 4 to 8 times, then saves the spectrum. Look for the word Ready on the lower left of the screen to move on to your sample measurement. We are going to demonstrate using the FTIR to run an IR spectrum on a solid sample. First, make sure the previous user left the ATR cell and the pressure clamp tip clean. Use a spatula to place a small amount of solid next to the center of the diamond cell on the ATR plate, and then carefully push the sample onto the diamond window at the center of the cell. Now, screw down the pressure clamp until the tip makes contact with the solid. Keep turning the clamp until it ratchets or clicks. Then, at the computer, press S at the top left of the spectrum measurement screen. The machine will take 4 to 8 scans of the sample and then send the data to the spectrum analysis window. To take an IR of a liquid sample, you're going to use a pipette to place a few drops of liquid at the center of the diamond cell on the ATR plate. Once again, we'll screw down the pressure clamp until the tip of the clamp just makes contact with the liquid. You don't need to use a lot of pressure for sampling liquids. Press S at the upper left of the screen to acquire the spectrum. If your liquid evaporates quickly, you have to be fast for this step. After you've obtained the spectrum, you should clean up the ATR cell. To clean the solid, you should use a paintbrush near the instrument to brush any solid into the waste container at the machine. Then use a chem wipe moistened with ethanol to remove traces of liquid or solid sample on the diamond cell and the pressure tip. Once your sample has been scanned, you will need to label the peaks and print your spectrum. You should see your IR spectrum in the spectrum analysis window of the Jasco system. If you don't see the spectrum, look behind the open spectrum measurement window or check for a minimized window at the bottom of the screen. From the spectrum analysis window, you can label peaks and print your spectra. To label peaks, you need to get to the Peak Find window. Look for the Peak Find Quick key in the menu bar, or go to the top of the screen under Processing and scroll down to the Peak Process submenu. In the upper left of the Peak Find window, you should set the noise level at 5 and make sure the upper and lower limit boxes are unchecked. Then click Apply. A red line will appear at the bottom of the spectrum peaks that are labeled. If you want to add any additional peaks, you can use the Add button to the right of the screen to add a peak label wherever you place the cursor. Once you have all the desired peaks labeled, return to the spectra analysis window by clicking OK in the upper right of the window and press the printer icon to print your spectrum.